That was just a blooner. All right, guys, we are officially here. As a golf fan, I would argue that this is the greatest week of the year, US Open week. Right now, the most elite players in the world are gathered up in Long Island to tackle Shinnecock Hills. Shinnecock Hills is one of the oldest courses in America, and it's one of the original 5 founding courses of the USGA. It's the only course to actually host a US Open in 3 different centuries. That alone is just crazy. But what I really think it is in short, it's 7,400 yards. It is a masterclass in architectural terror from a golfer's perspective. Now, if you were able to check out my last video, you will see that my Mevo Plus launch monitor pointed out a tremendous flaw in my golf game. Right now, at 104 miles per hour, I don't even have enough raw energy and power going into the golf ball off the tee box to carry the ball 300 yards. And at a course like Shinnecock, that's a massive flaw. This is a course that is gonna reward the long hitters, it's gonna reward the bombers, and not just where fairway bunkers may be set up or where hazards may be placed. It's more in terms of how the greens are actually constructed. The greens are very convex, turtle shelled, based to where there's a very small surface area where you can even put a ball and actually keep it on the putting surface. And so if you're attacking these greens with long irons in hand, it's gonna be a long week and you're gonna put up high numbers. So that's why we're here tonight. We're taking my unoptimized golf swing and we're applying it in nearly perfect conditions. And I shouldn't even say nearly perfect conditions. These are perfect conditions. Each and every lie here is perfect. I'm not sitting on glacial side hill lies. I'm not dealing with physical environments. GS Pro might try to emulate wind conditions and course setup and how the greens and fairways may be firm, but it's nothing like the real thing, right? So if my flaws cannot compete in nearly perfect conditions, all it's doing is proving my point that this is a lever of my golf game that needs some significant improvement. So let's tee it up and then let's take a look at the data together to see how I compete. So hole 1, par 4, 418 yards, a little dog leg right. Put this guy in the fairway and let's start the round strong, huh? All right. Actually hit the ball decent. And there we go. We're sitting fairway bunker. I hit the ball pretty good. 290 carry in this game. It's downhill a little bit, but just raw carry is 263. Ball speed around 157. Total spin, 2,700. Not surprised by that number. That seems to be around my average. Not upset by an opening drive. Obviously unfortunate to be sitting in the bunker, but let's see what we can do with this. 110 yards out. Wind helping a little bit, 9 miles per hour. Let's play a little 52 degree. Try to knock this guy just right smack in the middle of the green. Let's not get cute. All right, no green in regulation, but we're sitting 10 yards off. Quick greens, just put this bad boy close and let's move in on our first par of the day. A little bit too aggressive, huh? All right, so I take it back. We'll start with a bogey to kick things off. All right, let's take a look at hole 2. This is just a monstrous par 3. Architect William Flynn designed this as almost like a plateau S-shaped green around the surrounding bunkers. And For me, it's not just the total length of 250 yards, it's what club I have to pull out of my bag to actually get there. So this week, you're gonna see the pros pulling out 5, 6 irons, maybe even 7 irons to get it there. I'm pulling out a 3-wood, swinging out of my shorts, and coming at it at an angle that is damn near impossible to actually hold the green. And this is just maybe another supporting data point of the flaws of my club head speed impacting my overall game. So let's see what we can do here with a 3-wood. You got the wind coming off right to left around 10 miles per hour. I'm just trying to put this bad boy up to the right. Just keep it even short of the green. And I will be happy with that. Yikes. I mean, club head speed or not, that's just a poorly struck golf ball. Left myself with some tremendous work to do here. But, I don't know, got a lot of faith in my wedge game here tonight. Let's see what we can do here. Just a very poor golf swing. Bite. All right. Not ideal. All right, hole 4 is where you actually start to see Architect Flynn's personality and kind of quirkiness take shape. So holes 4, 5, and 6, they form this like geometrical loop where each and every shot faces a different wind direction. You'll also see that all these tee boxes are a little off center, meaning you're almost playing diagonal off the tee box to hit a perfect drive. Now, at my current club head speed, I will be playing almost all of these in the widest, safest parts of the fairway, really not giving myself a chance to hit the ball close on my second shot. And look, hitting the ball far, it's not an ego thing. I think driving the ball a certain distance, it gives you the ability to take certain angles that actually shorten the golf course, which in turn can lower your score. So that's really the thesis and maybe the intention of this channel is taking data, finding inefficiencies in my golf game and applying, call it resources or applying knowledge and intention behind those inefficiencies to get better. So let's attack 4, 5, and 6 and let's see how we do. All right, hole 7, the Redan. When I loaded up Shinnecock Hills tonight, of all the holes I was most curious about, it was this one. If you have played golf for any period of time, you'll probably run into this in some way, shape, or form because it is one of the most copied designs for par threes in the history of golf. I believe it came from a course in Scotland, but Shinnecock Hills is actually one of the most well-known examples of this design and concept. What makes this kind of so diabolical is it's kind of this front right to back left sloping green with a significant tilt where you essentially have to attack it at a perfect angle, perfect trajectory, and perfect speed, or else you're gonna wind up in the rough. Now, I think I read this correctly, that the USGA came out and said essentially 5% of this green is actually pinnable this week. Not 50%, 5% of this green is actually pinnable this week. That in of itself to me is pretty crazy. But if you go back in history, in 2004, they actually had to water this green in between groups because it was getting so unplayable. Now, take that in. They were stopping the US Open and watering the green in between groups because how severe this hole can actually be. So let's take a crack at it. Let's see what we can do here tonight. Sitting 200 out, wind in our face a little bit. I have grabbed a 6-iron. And when I talk about perfect angle and perfect trajectory, we're gonna execute it. I pulled it. There it goes. Pretty incredible hole, to be honest. But look at that tilt. I know this is only a simulation. In real life, it even has to be more crazy. It's pretty unbelievable. So, you know, I hit the 6-iron pretty good. I pulled it a tug, but I don't know, I'm actually not too upset with where this ball ended up. Now that's gotta stay. Front nine is done. Candidly, we've had a pretty tough stretch of golf. We're sitting at 12 over through 9 holes. I actually don't feel like I'm hitting the ball that bad. I've hit a couple squirrely drives. I take that back. I did actually skull a ball into the fescue. Outside of that, I feel like I'm actually hitting the ball all right. But sitting at 12 over, I thought this was a perfect time to actually revisit my last video. If you haven't got to check it out, it's right here, or here, or here, or even here, perhaps. I have not quite figured out YouTube and how to actually deploy all these things, so you gotta give me a little grace. But if you're able to check out my last video, you'll know that I have 2 summer goals. The first one is that I want to carry the ball 300 yards. Right now, my average carry is around 256. I always thought that it was kind of my spin rate that was really giving me problems with carry distance. But the data showed me that that's actually not the case. My spin rate is not terrible. It's around 2,700, not perfect by any means, but not terrible. Where I'm lacking a lot is in my club head speed. The average right now is around 104 miles per hour, which is only generating, you know, at a 1.48, 1.49 smash factor, around 156 miles per hour ball speed. It needs to be significantly more than that if I want to consistently drive the ball 300 yards off the tee. My second goal is that I want to get down to about a 3 or 4 handicap. So right now, I'm double digits, easily probably a 12 or 13. I have not been tracking super tight the last few years, had kids, rarely get out to the course, so kind of starting this journey back up. But I thought this was a great time to actually dive into what these next 12, 13 weeks actually look like from a planning standpoint and how I'm actually going to attack it. So let's go look at it quickly and then we'll get back to the back nine.
All right, before we jump into the back nine, I just want to touch quickly on how we're going to approach this summer. I am trying to treat my golf game like I treat my job, which would mean if there's a KPI or a metric that we are chasing after, let's work backwards and figure out what steps we need to accomplish to actually make that happen. So I've broken down this summer into 3 different phases. This first phase is pretty simple. Before I actually get faster, I need to make sure that my body is sequencing correctly. That means the lower body needs to fire, those hips, they need to clear, and that club needs to release, and it all needs to be in the right sequence. 3 weeks of really focusing on the foundation and building that foundation, that's important to me. Phase 2, this is where the actual speed work starts. I'm adding super speed training sticks to my protocol, and I'm gonna do that 3 times a week. This is where the needle, in my opinion, should really start moving. I will link to the equipment that I'm using in the description below. Phase 3, this would be the final few weeks of the summer. This is where it either happens or it doesn't, frankly. 3 consecutive sessions of averaging 300 yards of carry, that's the goal, that's a milestone. That's the whole point of these next 12 to 13 weeks. So follow along with me and let's head to the back nine.
All right, can we stay at 12 under? Can we stay at 12 under? You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to play better here. That was just a bloomer. I felt that one. I felt a little bloomy. Okay, hole 16. Right now it's playing 550. I believe this week in Shinnecock, it's actually playing over 600 yards for the pros. This hole is actually called Shinnecock. So if that doesn't tell you how much this course kind of identifies with this hole, nothing will. For me, I'm about to take a driver, 3-wood, and then maybe a mid to low iron in, where this weekend, even sitting at 600 yards, you're gonna see some of these guys actually getting there in 2, which is just an incredible distance. And you know, the whole core and focus, like I said, about hitting the ball, it's not an ego thing. It's actually about bringing your score down. There's just frankly, like, it's not just off the tee that there's that distance gap. It's on all the shots thereafter, and they just kind of compound. So let's see what we can do tonight on this par 5. Certainly not expecting to get there in 2, but let's see how short that 3rd shot in can actually be. Hit a little spinny. I felt it the slightest bit, but it's gonna roll out 265. So you're looking at 286 in. Let's pull out a little 3-wood, and let's see if we can just squirt it on over here in front of these traps. Now the wind is going slightly left to right at about 10 miles per hour, which means if we do cut across this, we don't want it to get too out of control. I low-key actually hit that okay. That's a little lucky. That's a little lucky to roll out of the traps there. So, well guys, we actually almost got there in two. I'll say that we got a little help, but now we're sitting here 38 yards out. Put this close, let's get a little birdie. This may be our best chance to actually get birdie today. Well, guess we'll take par. All right, there it is, a 90. We shot a 90 tonight at Shinnecock Hills in perfect conditions, mind you. 47 going out, 43 coming in. I actually don't feel like I hit the ball terrible tonight, but certainly we proved out what we were trying to prove. Let's go tabulate all of these approach shots and see what my average yardage in was. I'm super curious. My gut is that it's around 200, 205, but let's go see.
So the scorecard says a 90. 20 over par on a simulated championship course setup at Shinnecock Hills. Now before anybody comes at me in the comments, that is approximately a 9 handicap differential on one of the hardest golf course setups in the actual world. A course rating of 78 essentially means that the USGA would expect that even a scratch golfer would shoot 8 over on this course. So 90 isn't as ugly as it actually looks on paper, but of course that's not where I need to be. Here's what the data actually showed me tonight. My average carry distance on par 4s was around 250 yards. My best drive, I carried the ball 268 yards, while my worst on hole 9, I carried 219 yards. That range should tell you everything. I'm inconsistent. An inconsistency at 104 miles per hour of club speed gets punished hard on a course like this. But this is the number I really want you to look at. Look at the upper right-hand side. That average approach shot into par 4 greens tonight was over 190 yards. On average, that's a 6-iron. Every par 4 on this course, I'm averaging a 6-iron into the green on my approach. That means my greens in regulation is well below 20%. Birdie probability from that distance is actually essentially 0. The pros, on the other hand, they're hitting wedges and they're hitting 9-irons from those same spots on the course, and their greens in regulation at that point not only goes above 80%, but that's 4 times more birdie opportunities per round. That's what 44 yards of carry distance I think actually costs you. It's not on the driving range, it's not on the spreadsheet, it's right there on the scorecard. Phase 1 starts this week. Like and subscribe and follow along.